Hey, what's up guys, it's DarkArmedDuelist, and today we're doing the Winged Dragon of Ra test hands. So I'm really excited for this deck because this deck is a really fun deck that focuses around summoning the Winged Dragon of Ra to your side of the field. You just got some amazing support in the Egyptian God structure decks that just totally changed the way this deck entirely plays. I was playing Dangers in here, but I've changed up the entire way the deck plays. It works on 3-card combos now where you can get any 3 of a card to be able to summon out the Winged Dragon of Ra, which is really cool. I love the way the deck plays, and it's super good at OTKing. So without further ado guys, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell there so you can become part of the notification squad, and definitely check out the Patreon down in the description below for all those awesome rewards like getting your name stripped during a single video, getting a signed cards in the mail, and even getting to request a deck profile every single month to your patron along with test hands. So without further ado, let's get straight on into this. So like I said guys, this is a very fun deck to be able to use to go into the Winged Dragon of Ra. It has some really simple combos in the deck to actually summon it out. It almost feels like old school Yu-Gi-Oh, except you can go into link plays in this particular deck, which is kind of neat. You can summon out Ra with just 2 cards, or you can do some of the more complex 3-card combos in this particular deck to summon out the amazing Protector of the Sun. So let's go ahead and pile shuffle and see what we can do for our first particular test hand, which is really cool that you actually can summon out Ra so easily in this deck because you have like 6 ways to get the card from your deck to your hand. With Ancient Chant and like hard drawing Ra is also really good. Soul Crossing is amazing because you can actually just use the Soul Crossing to be able to tribute summon your opponent's monsters, to be able to summon out your copy of Ra, which is also very neat. So let's go ahead and see what we can do for our first test hand. So we're going to go ahead and shuffle the deck up and see what we can do. So we're going to go ahead and draw for turn, which is our copy of Foolish Burial, Soul Crossing, Tellus the Little Angel, a copy of the Winged Dragon of Ra, and an Immortal Phoenix. So this is actually really good. You have a couple of different plays. If you're going first, you can do some very simplistic plays, but I will go ahead and tell you guys, there is a very neat combo with Tellus the Little Angel that if you want to summon Ra first, you can. There's actually 2 ways to summon Ra in this particular hand. We're going to go ahead and get the first one out of the way. It's going to be like this. You're going to use your copy of your Soul Crossing plus your copy of the Winged Dragon of Ra to be able to special summon out Ra to your side of the field by tributing your opponent's monsters, which is a very unique and interesting way to actually summon Ra to your side of the field. So all you would do for the first one is just set your copy of Soul Crossing and set your copy of your Tellus the Little Angel on your side of the field and pass, and then when your opponent goes, you would activate the copy of your Soul Crossing and then tribute summon out your copy of Ra. However, there is another way to get Ra out on the first turn with this particular hand, which is kind of neat. So what we're going to do with this first hand is we're actually going to summon Ra right off the bat. So we're going to normal summon out the copy of Tellus the Little Angel, which is one of the very combos that I came up with for this particular deck. So then you're going to link summon away the copy of the Tellus the Little Angel. When you link that card away, you're going to summon out Alamiraj. Alamiraj is a very good card to actually summon in this particular instance because now the copy of the Tellus the Little Angel is going to give you a Winged Angel token to your side of the field. And if this card is in the monster zone, or is sent to the graveyard, and you special summon this card, or you special summon a token to your side of the field. If this card is sent from the monster zone to the graveyard, and then while you control a Tellus the Wing token, you can banish this card from the graveyard and 1 spell from your hand to special summon 2 more tokens. And also you cannot special summon for the rest of the turn, except for your hand, which is pretty neat to just be able to summon out your Ra really easily by just banishing this card. So we're going to go ahead and banish this card from the graveyard, and we're going to banish the spell as well because it has the ability that you just basically you banish this card and from your graveyard and a spell card from your hand. So we're going to banish the Foolish Burial, and we're going to banish the Tellus from our hand, and then we're going to be able to get 2 more tokens on our side of the field. And then you can use Soul Crossing to be able to summon out your copy of the Winged Dragon of Ra, which is going to get you a Winged Dragon of Ra. If you have Ancient Chant, however, it's a little bit better because then you don't have to use the copy of Soul Crossing. And you have the Immortal Phoenix as well, which can get you some more plays. But that's how you summon Ra. And then you pay, so you only have 100 life points left. This comes out at 79. But with that particular play, you leave yourself a little bit open with the copy of Alamiraj on the field. So if you want to tribute the Alamiraj over one of the tokens, you can. Or you can just set the Soul Crossing and go into Ra during your opponent's turn, which is kind of the better way to go about it. So let's go ahead and see what we can do for the next test hand. As you guys can see, very consistent at bringing out Ra. We had 2 ways to bring out Ra in the very first hand, which is kind of neat. I like the way that that went, and that's really cool. If you draw an Ancient Chant though, plus Tellus the Little Angel and any spell card, you can immediately summon it to your side of the field very easily, which is really the way that we want to summon it. So let's go ahead and see what we can do for the next one. So we're going to draw into an Ancient Chant. We're going to draw into Millennium Revelation, the Winged Dragon of Ra, again, a copy of Ancient Chant, and a copy of Monster Reborn, which is the only unfortunate thing about this, is you don't have a way to actually summon it. So we're going to draw, and we're going to draw a Metal Reflect Slime. You kind of brick with a hand like this. You can search the Winged Dragon of Ra. You have Monster Reborn to bring stuff back, but you don't have a lot of ways to actually go into Ra because you can't search it with Millennium Revelation. You already have Ra, so Ancient Chant is a little bit of a dud. So you have moments like that, which just happens. It does happen in a deck like this. That's why it's important to pile shuffle when you play decks like this every single time, but it does happen in decks like this, and it's why the deck is not tier 1. But it's still fun to play. So let's go ahead and see what we can do for the next test hand, because you will brick. There will be times with this deck you will brick. So let's go ahead and see what we draw. We're going to draw into the Sphere mode, Angel 01, a copy of Ash Blossom, Metal Reflect Slime, and a Soul Crossing, which is kind of neat because you can actually use the Soul Crossing to summon out the copy of Winged Dragon of Ra Sphere mode to your opponent's side of the field because it's a Divine Beast monster. So we're going to go ahead and set to our side of the field the copy of the Metal Reflect Slime and the Soul Crossing. And you can, even if you want to, special summon out the Angel 01. I would not summon the Angel 01. I would just go ahead and pass to my opponent. When I pass to my opponent, I will go ahead and activate the copy of my Metal Reflect Slime, and then tribute 3 of my opponent's monsters to give them the copy, or to summon out the copy of Ra to my field, because it won't go to their field, which is kind of neat. Now, the really cool thing about this card's effect is that, if you guys are unfamiliar, like, everybody just thinks this card tributes 3 monsters on the field, but it actually summons out Ra as well. Like, it unlocks and summons Ra. It has the ability that it cannot be special summoned except by tributing 3 monsters. Want to normal summon it to your opponent's side of the field. You can summon it that way. It can attack, and your opponent can target it for attacks or by card effects, and then you can tribute this card to special summon the Winged Dragon of Ra from your hand or deck, ignoring its summon conditions, and if you do, its attack becomes 4,000, which is really good. So we're going to go ahead and pass. They're going to go ahead and pass. They can't target it for attacks. I'm going to go ahead and tribute this monster, and then once we tribute out this monster during our turn, which we will draw for turn, you'll probably ash them at some point during the turn. You're going to draw into a Slime Reactor, and then the copy of the Winged Dragon of Ra Sphere mode will unlock, and you will actually summon out your copy of the Winged Dragon of Ra from the deck. So we're going to actually summon out this monster to our side of the field, which is super, super cool that you actually just immediately summon Ra to your side of the field. It will be at 4,000 attack, which is very neat to immediately get that card to 4,000 attack. And then you also have the Slime Reactor in the hand, and you can only activate 1 monster effect after the resolution of your Soul Crossing, but you can actually summon out your copy of your Egyptian God Slime, which is kind of cool. That's your only one effect that we're going to activate to summon out the copy of the Winged Dragon of Ra, and then summon God Slime behind it to be able to attack. So we're going to go ahead and attack for 4,000, and then activate or attack for 3,000 as well, which is kind of neat. And then if we draw into the next turn, you're going to draw into another Ash Blossom, which is kind of cool. Now, I will say to you guys, there is a very neat combo with this particular deck to actually summon out the Winged Dragon of Ra using these 3 cards, now that I see it in my hand. This is another combo that I wanted to show you guys as well when I started the video, but was unsure how I was actually going to draw into it. But since I have it here, I want to go ahead and show it to you guys. So let's go ahead and shuffle the deck up and draw literally any 2 other cards. It could be 2 more Winged Dragon of Ra's. Let's just add 2 more Winged Dragon of Ra's from our, well, let's add Ancient Chant. Ancient Chant is very important. Let's add Ancient Chant from our deck to our hand, a Winged Dragon of Ra, and another Winged Dragon of Ra. So you have not the greatest hand in the world, but you have really good. Okay, so let's go ahead and see what we can do. So what you're going to do is you're going to activate Ancient Chant, which will give you an additional normal summon, which is very important for this particular deck. And then you're going to add a copy of the Winged Dragon of Ra from your deck to your hand, which is just going to immediately grab it from deck to hand. It didn't matter if you had it in hand, but we're just going to say we didn't, and we're going to go ahead and add the other copy of the Winged Dragon of Ra from our deck to our hand. So we're going to go ahead and reveal the copy of the Winged Dragon of Ra, any of the 3 in our hand, to immediately special summon this to our side of the field. And then after you do, you can normal summon out the copy of the Reactor Slime, and then you can special summon out the 2 tokens to your side of the field off Reactor Slime, and then tribute them off to be able to summon out the Winged Dragon Ra, because the Ancient Chant and the copy of Angel 01 give you an additional normal summon, which is pretty good. So you can actually just do this with the Reactor Slime and the Angel 01 like this without even using Ancient Chant. You can do it a little bit simpler. You can actually have just these 3 in your hand and summon it out to your field. This is a little bit overkill because you'll get the extra attack points, which is what I wanted to mention, but you can actually do it this simple. You can just reveal this, special summon this, normal summon this, give yourself the 2 tokens for the reactor slime, and then tribute all 3 of these monsters on your side of the field. And then once you tribute all 3 of these monsters, you'll summon the Winged Dragon of Ra to your side of the field like that, because the Angel 01 gives you an additional normal summon of a level 7 or higher monster, which the Winged Dragon of Ra is. So this essentially turns into a 2-card Ra once you have Ra in your hand, which is kind of cool. I really like the way that actually works. It's very simplistic, and it's a lot of 2-card combos in this particular deck to go into Ra, which is what's really kind of neat about this deck. So let's go ahead and shuffle the deck up and see what we can do for our next test hand. As you guys can see, the deck is pretty consistent. You did have 1 brick so far, which is unfortunate, but it does happen in decks like this that you're trying to summon out one particular monster in this particular deck to be able to kind of go after your opponent. So let's go ahead and see what we can draw for the next hand. So we're going to go ahead and shuffle it up really good, and then we're going to draw. So we're going to draw into a copy of Guardian Slime, Angel 01, which we can special summon the Angel 01 if we get another copy of Ra, Guardian Slime, Reactor Slime, and a copy of Pot of Extravagance. So Pot of Extravagance is a very cool card in this particular deck. You are going to need to shuffle up your extra deck a little bit because you don't want to hit like 3 of the same cards. So we're going to shuffle it up a little bit and make sure that we don't hit the same card. That's very, very important, because if we hit all 3 of our Egyptian God Slimes, I'm going to be very upset. But we're going to go ahead and hit those 3, and we're going to hit these 3 too right here, and we're going to see what we hit. If we hit God Slime, it's going to be sad. But hey, we can still play. So we didn't hit all 3, we hit 2. That's fine. So we're going to go ahead and banish those, and we're going to immediately draw 2 cards, which is going to be a copy of Metal Reflect Slime and another copy of Pot of Extravagance, which is fine. We can just activate it during the next turn, and we potentially, if we just draw off the top, we're not going to hit it, but that's going to be pretty important to not hit it. So we're going to go ahead, and at this point, you don't have Ra, so you can just go ahead and set this card to your field, and then kind of pass against your opponent. So when they go into their turn and they swing at you, you're going to activate the copy of the Metal Reflect Slime, or you can let them take a little bit of damage and special summon out your copy of your Guardian Slime to your field, because the Guardian Slime has the ability that if you take battle or effect damage, you can special summon this card from your hand. And during the damage calculation, if they attack this monster, then this card's defense becomes that monster's attack, and it basically stalemates. So you take 1 hit on the chin, which is fine. And then they're going to swing into this as well, which is a little bit unfortunate, because they're going to take 1 hit from this. And then if they have something bigger, they can swing through it. But that's when the interesting stuff actually happens. So once they hit into this card, then you can add, and this card's sent from your hand or field to the graveyard, you can add 1 spell or trap from your deck to your hand that specifically lists the Winged Dragon Ra. So if they swing through this for the next attack, you can actually add the copy of our, our Ancient Chant. You can actually add Ancient Chant from deck to hand. So once we go into that, you can actually flip the copy of Metal Reflect Slime to protect from a 4th attack if they have a 4th attack of a monster that has 3,000 or less defense, just to kind of protect you a little bit, because it's basically going to eat, you're going to take the first attack, they're going to hit this for the 2nd attack, and this card is going to eat the attack. The 3rd attack, they're going to go through it, and then the 4th attack is going to get blocked by the reactor or their Metal Reflect Slime. If they have more than that, then they're going to have to kind of get through this and then hit you for the 5th monster if they have 5. But at that point, they've established some crazy field, and you might not have a chance anyways. So let's go ahead and see what we can do for the next turn. We're going to draw for turn, which is a Sun God Unification. I would consider not even bothering with the copy of my Extravagance, because I don't want to hit the God Slime, because if I hit the God Slime, it's in a really bad spot. Yeah, you'll be left with 3, but if you banish it, it's pretty much over with, and you don't... Well, you can still go into Ra. You can still go into Ra. Let's go ahead and do it. We're going to go ahead and shuffle up the extra deck. You can still make it because you have the Reactor Slime and the Angel 01, so you have plays that you can still go into even if you banish it. It's going to be unfortunate if we hit it, but it's still playable. So we're going to go ahead and use the Pot of Extravagance, and we're going to hit a copy of our Juggernaut Libby, Cross Sheep, Alamirage, God Slime, the 82, and another copy of that. So we still have plays. It's totally fine. We still have some really good plays. That's what I was kind of worried about, that I was going to hit that card, but that's totally fine if you do. And we're going to need to draw 2. So we're going to draw a copy of Millennium Revelation and a copy of Reactor Slime. So at this point, we're going to go ahead and special summon to our side, or activate the copy of the Ancient Chant. Ancient Chant is going to be the best play to go off with right off the bat, because you're going to add Ra from deck to hand. And then once you do that, you're going to be able to reveal in your hand the copy of the Angel 01 with a copy of Ra to be able to immediately special summon it to your field. And then once we do that, we can normal summon out our copy of the Reactor Slime. Reactor Slime will give us the 2 tokens on our our side of the field, which then can be tributed on our side of the field with the copy of the Reactor Slime. If you want to keep the Reactor Slime, you can, because you can just set a Metal Reflect Slime from your hand deck or graveyard, and it can be activated this turn to be able to go into a copy of the Metal Reflect Slime, so you can have 2 of them to go into an XZ play if you want to. But tribute both of these on your side of the field, and then summon out Raw with whatever life points you do have left. To be able to just immediately summon into your field. You will have to pay, so you only have 100 left, which is a little bit unfortunate because you did take an attack. It won't be as big as it could be, but you do have the Sun God Unification, and you have the copy of Millennium Revelation that you can kind of bait your opponent out with, and you have the copy of the Slime, Guardian Slime, and the Reactor Slime as well. So if you do pass against your opponent, and go into the battle phase, you can swing with this, and then you can actually use this because during the battle phase, quick effect, you tribute it, and then you can set a Metal Reflect Slime. It can only, or you can, it can be activated this turn, and you can only use the effects of this card once per turn. So during the battle phase, tribute this, and then you will set from your deck to your side of the field one of your 3 Metal Reflect Slimes, and then when you go into main phase 2, here's a really cool play that you can actually go into because we didn't banish it. You can actually just immediately activate this and then summon it to your side of the field. And then once you activate it, you can actually go into the copy of your Ravenous Tarantula, which will actually make your field insane because this card will boost your monster's attack points with the difference between your life points and your opponent's life points. The only unfortunate thing is we had to go into battle phase. We couldn't attack and then do it, which is a little bit bad, but you still have plays with this card, which is kind of neat, because it will burn your opponent a little bit too. It has the ability that when this card is XC summon, or when this card has materials, each time your opponent special summons a monster, you inflict 600 points of damage to your opponent. So they kind of got to watch themselves because after you've attacked them with this Raw, with however big it is, between like somewhere between 100 attack and 79, like depending on how much they hit you for. On that one attack, you're still going to be okay because you have the Ravenous Tarantula in the defense position, which is going to increase it by the difference between your life points and your opponent's life points, which could be anywhere from 7,800 to 100 difference, or 1 life point different, depending on what they're playing. So you have a lot of different like plays with this particular field too. So you can actually go into even more plays. If we draw for the next turn, you're going to draw into Ash, and then you're going to just kind of have to OTK them with the Raw. So let's go into another test hand and see what we can do for one more test hand, because like you guys can see, this deck is very interesting. Unfortunately, we did banish the Egyptian God Slime, which sucks, but hey, you still got more plays to go into, as you guys saw, which is what I wanted to show you guys, and what I wanted to show that was so important about this deck is you have so many different ways to go into Raw. Like you can use this. Like the cool thing is you can just use this and go into this and then go into it. You can go into a Raw with your copies of these monsters just to go into Raw, like I showed you guys earlier. Or you can use your copy of the weakest of the combos, in my opinion, to go into is to use a spell card plus the Tellus the Little Angel token, because you have to have Tellus plus Ancient Chant plus Raw in hand, or you have to have Tellus and a spell plus Raw, which is a little bit unfortunate because you have to use your normal summon with the copy of your Raw on your side of the field, which is a little bit bad, but it's still a play that you can go into because you have to search the Raw to get a normal summon, and then you have to use the spell that's in the hand to banish to give you the 3 tokens, but it ends up with an Alamirage and a Raw. So you have basically, these are the big combos that you have, and you can even use your copy of your Guardian Slime to go into your copy of your God Slime, which is another play that you can go into. So these are like your combos that you're going to be able to use to go into Raw. So let's go ahead and shuffle the deck up for one more play to see what we can go into for this particular deck, because like I showed you guys, this deck is super fun. Like I really love the way that the deck plays, and it's just a really cool deck. Like it's really fun to actually play with this deck. So we're gonna go ahead and shuffle it up and see what we can do. So we're gonna draw for turn into an Ash, a copy of Sphere Mode, which is fine. Raw itself, Soul Crossing. Oh, and you have Soul Crossing. I didn't mention that, but you have this is another combo card where you can actually just go Soul Crossing plus Raw on your opponent, which is kind of cool. So we're gonna go ahead and pretty much just set the copy of Metal Reflect and the copy of Soul Crossing and pass. Like that's all you need. So then you can activate the copy of the Metal Reflect, and then you can activate Soul Crossing to tribute 3 of your opponent's monsters and summon Raw. And then you basically just go after them from there. You pay the 79 and you go after them from there. If you draw next turn, you're going to draw into a copy of Metal Reflect. You can use the Metal Reflect. You can only activate one effect after the activation of this card, because until the end of the next turn after this turn, this card resolves, you can only activate 1 card effect per turn. So you can just immediately get rid of this because this is our 1 card effect that we can go into, summon the God Slime, and then swing at your opponent for 3k and 79, which is going to be the big play of this particular field. Like, that's pretty much all you really need at that point. If your opponent did establish more monsters, you can just give them this on their side of the field as your 1 card effect, or you can summon out the copy of God Slime. It's totally up to you. You can set this to your field. The Ash is a little bit kind of not needed at this point, because you can either go this route where you summon the God Slime, or you can actually use the copy of Sphere Mode to just give your opponent the card, which is really cool that the deck actually plays so fast too. So anyways, guys, I think that's going to be it for this particular one. Let's just see what we draw. Another copy of Sphere Mode. An Immortal Phoenix. Like, I don't think it could get any cooler than drawing all 3 of those. Another copy of Soul Crossing and a Guardian Slime. So you actually just drew every single raw card, which is kind of cool in the monster forms. Like, that was awesome. I can't believe I just did that. That was kind of cool that I had all those cards. So let's go ahead and see what we can, I think that's going to be it. Yeah, I think that's going to be it for the test hands, guys. I think I showed you all the combos that I could actually come up with for this particular deck. If you guys have any extra combos that you guys might know for this particular deck, definitely comment them down below, because like I told you guys, this deck has a lot of hidden potential that you can just soul crossing your opponent, turn raw into a kaiju, OTK your opponent, and this deck will take games by surprise, which is what's really cool about the way the deck plays. If you guys want to check out the deck profile, it is down in the description below. But anyways, guys, this is DarkArmedDuelist. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell there so you can become part of the notification squad, and we'll see you guys in the next video. See you later, guys.